Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. I am back with our 7 Facets of Life workshop series. So we're going to go through the 7 facets of life and pull some tarot cards and do a collective reading and energy update, as well as speaking on any guidance that might come through. So as a refresher, I've done 2 videos or 2 months of this series. This is a series that I aim to do every month. So currently I'm recording this around February 2026, but whenever you come across this, I trust that this reading was meant to find you. And I'm going to go through quickly the 7 facets as an overview so you know what to expect. So the first facet, which I always say is the most important and the foundation of everything we do, is our spirituality, our self-development, our self-transformation. And then the second one is health and wellness. The third facet is free time. The fourth facet is home and environment. The fifth facet is love life. The sixth facet is social life, like your friendships, your community, maybe even your extended family or your children. And then the seventh facet is your finances and career. So let's go ahead and dive right in with the first facet. And I definitely recommend making sure you have some time to reflect, maybe have a journal if you want to take any notes, have a cozy drink, and just get comfortable and really be present and really enjoy the reading. Okay, so with the spirituality and self-development facet, we have the 4 of Pentacles, the World, and the 5 of Swords. So the World coming up here is extremely significant. I feel if you are listening to this and you are in this collective, you are completing, I'm hearing, the most significant chapter of your life. Meaning that this pivotal moment where you're transitioning from one chapter to the next is the biggest transformation you've ever made. And it's one that you'll look back on and remember fondly and appreciate and recognize just how significant this time is for you. And with the 4 of Pentacles and 5 of Swords, there definitely could be some energy of holding on tightly to something, whether this is maybe subconscious limiting beliefs or certain values that are no longer serving us, and the concept of those leading to some kind of conflict. And so what you're doing at this time is releasing all that no longer serves you and stepping into this new timeline where you don't need to invest or waste your energy on the things that are out of your control. And I'm hearing really strongly that your meditation practice, your communication with your angels and spirit guides, perhaps through prayer, if this is something that resonates with you, and overall your rituals that you perform. And I recently did a video on rituals, so I definitely recommend checking that out if this is resonating with you. But the idea is that when you turn a routine into a ritual, so a routine such as meditation or prayer or any kind of action that provides you spiritual fulfillment or helps foster your soul's transformation, when you are truly present through the act of that routine, it turns into a ritual that expands and amplifies the beneficial growth energy of that action. So the importance of ritual is so clear because on this path of your growth, we are seeking depth and truth, and that is made possible when you have these rituals that put you into that flow state or put you into that ability to channel and connect with source energy. So as you're coming out of this world, a world of any kind of limiting beliefs, maybe self-worth, maybe feeling like you're not transforming in the way that you had hoped, or you're not developing as quickly as you had hoped, or you're not seeing the outcomes in your 3D reality, and you're questioning your abilities, you're questioning your self-worth, you're questioning your manifestational power, anything like that, that you know deep down on a soul level, and maybe not that deep, maybe you consciously know this, but there's some lingering bad habits in terms of our self-talk or the reactions or thought patterns that we have. You know that these are not your soul's truth. You know that these no longer serve you. And so you're stepping into this new world where you can leave that behind. So again, I'm really picking up on the message from Spirit to prioritize your meditation, prioritize your commitment to nurturing yourself, nurturing your inner child through these rituals that resonate with you, and enjoy the process of figuring out what rituals do resonate with you, because that's the beauty of this journey. I'm also getting a message to really embrace the present moment, because I've said this in previous readings, but the transformational journeys that this collective is on, it's never ending. Your soul will constantly be evolving. And so it's so easy to constantly be looking forward or waiting or wishing on certain outcomes. But the truth of your soul lies in the present moment. And the present moment is the portal to all of the dreams and desires and outcomes that you seek. And so you are better off focusing your attention on the present moment, because that's where all of the healing and growth really occurs. Okay, so let's move on to the second facet, which is health and wellness. So this talks a lot about our routines that nourish our body and our mental health as well. So this could be things like sleep, nutrition, fitness and exercise, movement, just the general energy of your body and your mind. So we have the Four of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Justice. Yeah, so the Four of Swords coming through strong with the message of rest and rejuvenation and giving yourself that time to recover. I'm hearing that you are being presented with more opportunities than you may be realizing to pause and listen to your body. And I'm hearing to say no to things that aren't worth the energetic output. So, for example, maybe you have a pretty taxing or draining week behind you or ahead of you, and you're invited to something that will take more energy, whether this is physical or social even, but, you know, because the social energy will kind of drain your mind and then the physical energy will drain your body. You are being gifted these opportunities to practice discernment and practice the enforcing of your boundaries and saying no to things when required for your own health and recovery. So also, the time that I am recording this is in winter, as February is approaching. And regardless of when you're listening to this, it doesn't have to be the literal season of winter, but we all go through different seasons throughout the year, of course, but also throughout the month, especially if you're a woman with a menstrual cycle. The seasons may resonate really strongly with you if you're doing cycle syncing, which I always highly recommend. For example, many women associate their period and their menstrual phase with the winter season of hibernation and rest and reflection. But regardless, every human goes through particular seasons. Even within a particular week, you may go through a transition between seasons. So I'm also picking up on the message of with the Four of Swords that sometimes you need a restful season, and sometimes it may seem like that's not compatible with the social or physical invitations that are being presented to you. But the message coming forward so strongly is that your highest self prioritizes yourself, prioritizes your body over everything else, because you know that that is your foundation. And without your cup being full, there's nothing left to give, right? There's nothing worth devoting your energy towards if your cup and your foundations aren't full and sturdy. So with the High Priestess and the Justice, I'm also picking up on this energy of honoring your internal world. I'm also picking up a lot on mental health. So meditation is coming through again. So this can be there's a lot of overlap between the facets, as I've said before, but meditation is a routine that is going to serve and fulfill your mental health. And the High Priestess talks a lot about what's subconscious and what's hidden, and that kind of intuitive inner knowing. It's a great embodiment of the inner divine feminine. So when you foster that kind of nurturing of your mental health through meditation, you are significantly improving your health and wellness in this facet. And with the Justice, I'm also picking up on strong themes of balance. And again, the Justice with the sword and being a card of the mind and mental intellect, kind of like an air sign card. I'm picking up on this need to kind of balance and quiet the mental chatter so that you can show up strong in your body. So it's a very calm and reflective and kind of resetting energy that's coming through with this second facet. So in this month ahead, you really are being called to rest your body, to calm your mind, and to achieve that kind of balance between the body and mind. Okay, so let's move on to the third facet, which is free time. So this could be anything you do for fun, any kind of hobbies, recreational activities. This could also be adventures and travel that you go on, or weekend trips, or just the things that you like to do for fun and in your free time. So we have the Five of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Empress. Wow, such an abundant divine feminine energy coming through. So with the Five of Wands, this does represent some kind of conflict. It could be perhaps your ego spiraling or taking the lead when it shouldn't be. It could be some kind of competition. It's nothing serious or dangerous, but it is some kind of minor struggle or conflict. And I'm picking up for the collective that you may be, and I think that this came up in the previous reading I did, where there was this sense of feeling like you don't have enough time to do the things that you want to do. And this is a common experience for most people in the world, but especially for this collective, there is significant growth and abundance on the other side of you recognizing how crucial it is that you prioritize fun in your life. And with the Nine of Pentacles and the Empress, the Nine of Pentacles is such an independent, abundant, successful, divine feminine energy. She has a fruitful harvest. She has material security. And with the Empress, this is fertility. This is more harvest, abundance. It's like Spirit is telling you that you have so much at your fingertips, so much abundance in your life as well as ahead of you through the process of you simply enjoying life and learning to recognize your abundance. And so the Five of Wands is coming through because there's some distraction or conflict that's blocking you or preventing you from seeing abundance, or blocking or preventing you from recognizing the importance of enjoying the fruits of your labor, the harvest that results from your hard work, the fun and enjoyment and pleasure that you get from your hobbies or your travel and adventures. So the guidance here is to perhaps take part in some visualization to really get clear on what it is that you want to do for fun. And if you have a lot of things in your mind that you're not really sure what's the priority, I definitely recommend making a list, maybe a list of all of the things you enjoy doing, all of the hobbies you enjoy doing, all of the outings you enjoy or that you want to do. Maybe you have some kind of bucket list of things that you really want to do, but it seems like you've had it for a long time. I would just outline it all, and maybe even like your social life. Like, I know that that's a different facet, but of course there's overlap, but maybe the things you want to do with the people that you care about. Just do this journaling exercise to really lay everything out and get clear on the vision. And then, because with the divine feminine energy of the Nine of Pentacles and the Empress, it's very much that internal divine feminine, which is, of course, these aren't linked to gender, but that's the energy that has the big picture vision. And it's the source of creation. It's the creative ideas. It's the reflection that leads us to get clear on the vision. Then from there, you can practice your inner divine masculine energy, which can take part in the organizing of this list, the prioritizing of the list, and then the planning. So this is a huge milestone because you're shifting from one timeline where all of the responsibilities of the world pushed away your time and ability to partake in fun and free time activities. And you're now making this a central part of your life because you're recognizing that joy and pleasure and abundance is on the other side of simply existing in a state where we allow ourselves to experience joy and pleasure and abundance. So I know that this is a very quantum interpretation that I'm providing here, but the takeaway is that Spirit really wants you to see how you don't need material wealth or the abundance that you think you need in order to experience true abundance and joy and love that results from you simply taking the time to indulge and enjoy the things that you love to do. And so another way I can say this is you may be feeling like you need to work or take care of household chores or take part in routines that are going to serve your first and second facet, which of course are great and absolutely necessary. But there is some very important need for you to take time every day to do something that you enjoy. Because through those activities, and it doesn't have to be things that cost a lot of money like travel or expensive hobbies, right? This could be something as simple as doodling on a piece of paper or doing a little bit of writing or whatever hobbies, especially those that are creative or artistic, because those will especially get you in that creative flow state and in connection with divine source energy, which will fulfill you in a spiritual way. But even if it's just a hobby that's like playing a sport or reading a book, truly anything, when you do those things for fun, you start to recognize just how enjoyable and abundant life is. And that's the energetic shift that is pulling us out of that Five of Wands energy and into an embodied state of abundance. So I hope that this is clear, because what I'm trying to say is, through the act of you partaking in your fun hobbies during your free time, you are shifting your energy and you are amplifying abundance within yourself, because you are practicing experiencing it more through the repetitive act of doing these hobbies. And so that's why we have these beautiful divine feminine energies coming through, because this is about being with the feminine energy versus the doing of the masculine energy. Of course, partaking in hobbies is a do, it is an action, but the importance here is, in order to overcome that ego and blockage of the Five of Wands, you really need to enjoy the hobby, enjoy the free time, whether it's your first step of creating the list, or the second step of prioritizing the list, or the third step of actually doing the things on the list. This state of being, the state of existence, should be one where you are present and you are mindful and you are able to recognize and appreciate just how beautiful life is when you're able to do the things that resonate with your soul and bring you pleasure and enjoyment. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth facet of life, which is home and environment. So this could be your literal house, like how you organize it. This could be the town you live in. Maybe some of the collective wants to move. This could also just be your pets who live in your home with you. It could be your experience when you are at home. So take the message as it resonates for this particular facet. But we have the Seven of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. Wow. So two pentacles coming through. So of course, the pentacles is that earthly energy of financial and material security and stability. And so I'm getting for the collective with the Seven of Pentacles, there's some decision. And yeah, again, I'm picking up on this energy of part of the collective that maybe wants to move, or it doesn't have to be a literal move of cities or states or countries, but for many of the collective it will be. But this could also just be a decision that's going to significantly change or impact your home. And the Seven of Pentacles talks about the fork in the road between paths, where you can stay on the path that you're on, which is secure and stable, or you can pick a new path, which is going to bring you new opportunities. And it's really about evaluating where you stand, reflecting on all of the progress after many years of hard work that have brought you to this state of stability, and looking forward at what you want your long-term investments to be, and the patience that's going to be required for that long-term harvest that you look forward to. And so in this crossroads moment, you may need to pivot in some way, and only you know exactly what that requires of you. But it's definitely a reminder that, you know, you have the pentacles here with you, especially with the King of Pentacles, which is such a abundant divine masculine energy. You have the security, and so you are being called to trust the process and really see things for the big picture, to make sure that your time and energy is being spent and invested wisely. And again, with the King of Pentacles, I mean, we had the Nine of Pentacles for the third facet, and now we're getting the King of Pentacles. So we've got a divine feminine and now a divine masculine, representing incredible abundance and wealth and success. So I really encourage you to sit with this knowing that this is for you, this message is for you, and that abundance is coming for you and abundance is here. And really just feel how that feels in your body to know that your life is so beautifully bringing you such aligned opportunities and magic that you have been dreaming of. It's coming in your future, and it's also already here, because that's, of course, an energetic mindset to be able to see the abundance that you already have. This is that manifestational mindset we talk about a lot. But that's why I say abundance is not just something that we look forward to, but it's something that's here in the now moment. If you just look, you'll see it. So let's move on to the fifth facet of life, which is our love life. So we have the Hermit, the Two of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. Very interesting. Okay, so I'm picking up for the collective. Many have been in a separation or a period of solitude, and maybe you're single. And if you identify as a twin flame, which you don't have to for this reading to resonate, but the Hermit is very much a time of solitude where you're back to your internal world and you take that time to reflect and process what had happened when you were in union with your twin flame. And for many of the twin flame collective, there are cycles of separation and union. So the Hermit is speaking to that cycle of separation where you are on your own, more isolated, and doing that inner work that really requires focused alone time. With the Two of Swords coming through, I'm getting that there was some difficult situation, and this doesn't have to be recent. This could have been like 1 to 3 years ago, or within the past year, but there was a difficult decision that required you to step away and undergo this introspection. You may have had blinders on, as the Two of Swords speaks on, that kind of state of not being able to see things for what they are, or having some kind of denial. And so that was why you had to walk away from this situation and get back into your own internal world and your emotional truth, and really release and cleanse those blockages and get yourself to a place of clarity. So following this quiet reflection period, we're getting the Six of Pentacles, which I know we've gotten in a previous reading, and it speaks about the give and take of life. And this is crucial because as you're coming out of this Hermit phase, eventually, you are being required to have a clear idea and understanding of what balance looks like in your relationships or your romantic relationship. So how much you can give and how much you're able to receive without blocking it. And when you open yourself up to generosity, then you're on your way to experiencing the abundance that in the past was blocked from you. And I'm speaking specifically on this abundance in terms of your love and romance in your relationship. There was something in the past that was a difficult, blocked situation with the Two of Swords, and with the Six of Pentacles, you're coming out of it and you're recognizing that there is a need for reciprocity. The Six of Pentacles also speaks on justice and power dynamics and fairness. So if this was something that was not present in your romantic relationship, this is something that you are now being called to define for yourself and enforce, like enforcing your boundaries and your standards. And I also am being called to speak on the concept of inside out. So when you nurture yourself, when you parent your inner child, as we've talked about in previous readings, when you allow yourself the space to feel and you approach and meet yourself with open arms and empathy and compassion and understanding, you set the internal foundation to be healed and stable and secure. And then from there, you are able to give to others because you've given to yourself. So there's this mirroring effect. And so even if you're not in a relationship or you're not dating or you're not talking to anybody, it's really irrelevant, because the external outcome that you seek of having a balanced, reciprocal, healthy relationship begins on an internal level. And you always have that full sovereign power and responsibility and ability to nurture that internal state. And this simply just takes practice. Whenever you feel triggered, to make space for it and allow the feelings to be felt and to self-validate. Because through that process, again, of parenting the inner child, of embracing and accepting and integrating all parts of yourself, even those that get triggered or experience reactions and instability. When you prioritize and commit to this processing, you are showing yourself unconditional love and acceptance. And that is crucial for your spiritual growth, for your ability to truly embody self-love, self-trust, self-worth. And so Spirit really wants you to think and reflect on this and feel through how these messages may be received by your body. But this overall message is to really think about your give and take. And I spoke on a previous reading about this, where there is an energetic input and output in everything that you do. And so the more that you can become aware of this, not just on an intellectual knowing level of the mind, but also in your body and how the energies feel in your body. And this is definitely relating to and overlapping with the second facet, where it was calling us to rest our body and to meditate and calm our mind. When you practice that awareness, you are healing yourself, you are raising your frequency, and you are getting closer to resonance with your highest self. So this is a very important message coming from Spirit, to really think and feel hard about the give and take of your romantic relationships and how you can bring this into greater balance and reciprocity in the future. And in the meantime, how you can nurture your own inner needs and really get comfortable with giving and receiving within yourself. You know, giving yourself time and space to feel, giving yourself love and care, and also receiving that love and care from yourself, receiving that positive self-talk from yourself. Because again, it's that inside out concept where it's all going to begin on an internal level. There's not going to be some external person or romantic relationship that's going to come in and save you or heal you or cleanse and release your trauma and blockages. It's really your mission and your kind of karmic path to partake in. And when you do that inner work, you set yourself up to attract and magnetize to such a strong and aligned degree the relationship that is going to bring you the most balance in your life. Okay, so let's move on to the sixth facet of life, which is our social connections, such as our friends, our community, maybe even your extended family. So we have the Hierophant and the Knight of Wands. So immediately with the Hierophant, I'm picking up on spiritual community. So especially if you have been feeling like you haven't had the spiritual community that you had hoped for all of these years or for the last several months, sometimes shifts in our community are required as we go through major transformations on our spiritual journey. And so the Hierophant is coming through to remind yourself that spiritual community and, the ability to connect even with your own friends, even if they don't fully share the same spirituality as you, but the ability to connect with your friends in your core values and beliefs, and to whatever degree that you prefer. You may have friends that you don't connect with on this, and that's okay too. We all have different friends for different needs, but the Hierophant is coming through to show that prioritizing spiritual community is going to bring you a lot of stability and growth. It's going to accelerate and amplify and assist in your spiritual journey and growth. And with the Knight of Wands, I'm picking up on this a little specific, but it's a message of saying yes to an invite. And I know in the second facet, we talked about saying no to certain things and prioritizing rest. But with the Knight of Wands, I'm picking up on this really fast moving energy. And the invite that I'm picking up on to say yes to is one that's going to fuel your friendships and spiritual community. And so, of course, there is a give and take and a push and pull here, because on one end with the second facet, we want to nourish our bodies. And on the other end, we want to pursue and partake in events and opportunities to meet spiritual connections or experience that spiritual intimacy and fulfillment through our friendships or community members. And so I really want to connect these messages together of the second and the sixth facet, because ultimately these feed into each other, right? You have to have a full cup. You have to have a stable and sturdy and steady foundation in terms of your internal energy, resting your body, calming your mind. And if you are able to do that and prioritize that me time, prioritize your sleep, prioritize your nutrition, take really good care of your body, then you are setting yourself up to say yes to opportunities that come, because you have a well-rested body. And so when a social opportunity presents itself to you, you will have done the work, you will have prepared and planned ahead, and now you have the energy and the time to experience that fulfillment through your social life. So the Knight of Wands is, following the work you do in that second facet, and that may require saying no at times. The Knight of Wands then is able to come through and move forward in the actions and opportunities that are going to fulfill you. And again, I'm really picking up on the spiritual aspect of your community. This could be a meditation center or a church or some kind of meetup, or even just meeting with a friend one-on-one and talking about spirituality and core values and beliefs, and even astrology, anything that kind of connects you with your soul's truth and connects you with source energy and enables you to kind of channel what your truth and guidance is at this time. All of this is kind of represented by the spirituality of the Hierophant. And so there really is a message coming through about how having a loyal and structured and stable friendship that's based on shared values that's based on mutual respect, that maybe even has a mentorship component to it, which the Hierophant also represents. It's that bond that's going to give you that sense of belonging. And that's a very important emotional need that's going to make you feel really stable and supported in life. And I also want to mention that the Knight of Wands can represent that kind of adventurous, passionate, exciting action energy. And it can be spontaneous. And sometimes this can also represent travel or taking a trip. But it's also just the passion to explore things. So it's a really exciting, fiery, buzzing energy that you're going to be able to step into with your friendships and with your social circles or your community. And that combined with spirituality, I'm really picking up on Sagittarius energy, but all in all, the Wands is a fire energy. It can represent any of the fire signs, but especially Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a student of life. It seeks to learn. It seeks to explore different spiritualities and religions and philosophies and things like this, astrology. And it's this energetic, exciting, dynamic energy that keeps things interesting, keeps things fiery. And it's also about having that charisma to have that open mind to learn new things, to travel to new places. It's such a freeing energy. And so that's why also, again, that second facet, you're going to need to be well rested so that you have the energy to ride the waves as they present themselves to you and embrace spontaneity as it comes up and as you feel drawn and called to take on that movement in such a freeing and adventurous way. Okay, so let's move on to the seventh facet, which is finances and career. So we have the King of Cups and the Moon. Okay, yeah, a lot of emotional stability and maybe uncertainty, but overall being called to approach your finances and career in a way that's going to be in emotional alignment with your soul's truth. So the moon represents our subconscious, our hidden truths, and it's also that kind of divine feminine energy of surrender and letting things unfold naturally. So the King of Cups combined with that is about knowing your emotional truth and standing strong in it. And it's that compassion for yourself as well as that emotional balance and wisdom and maturity. So as you approach your career life or your financial status and maybe the changes that you are looking to make, you are doing so in a very diplomatic, the King of Cups is a divine masculine. It's a king. It's a diplomatic advisor who is maybe some kind of leader or mentor, but this is like an internal energy I'm picking up on, but it could also be an external mentor that is helping you through certain decisions in your career or finances. But this is a very calm and emotionally balanced and compassionate and deeply caring and supportive figure. Again, I'm getting from most of the collective, this is your internal energy. This is somebody who is deeply supportive of your desires and dreams. And so when you have that embodied on an internal level, you have that foundation, that stability on an emotional level that is supporting you through the growth and changes that you're approaching on your career path. And again, I really am picking up on changes. So take this as it resonates, but if you are in some kind of career or financial situation or status that you want to be changed, you are being called to navigate this path with high emotional intelligence, self-awareness amidst whatever uncertainties there may be or hidden information. And so through a period of confusion or maybe not being certain which steps or actions to take, you're being called to make decisions that are going to be emotionally and intuitively aligned. This could also speak to somebody who's wanting a more intuitive or artistic career path, whether it's creative arts or healing or some kind of role that helps others like counseling or things like this. But again, through that path, you're going to be called to embrace that emotional and intuitive wisdom that is within. And that's going to take inner work, shadow work, and emotional processing so that you can manage whatever complex or ambiguous situations you may be faced with. And I do want to say for the collective that maybe is not looking for any kind of career changes, but is more so focused on their finances, the emotional water energy of the cups with the King of Cups, as well as the moon, is speaking to the need for you to embrace that manifestational mindset that we talk about so much on this channel, that is going to feel the abundance that you seek. I'm hearing like scripting and not just writing the abundance and the scenarios that you want to manifest, but also feeling it on a deep level. It's that deep, emotional, intuitive knowing and wisdom. When you can really get in touch with how abundance feels, how financial and material wealth feels, you are aligning yourself to that timeline. So, with the moon being your internal world and your subconscious, and with the King of Cups being that emotional and intuitive wisdom, that's another very clear message coming through when it comes to your finances. And this can apply to your career as well, but especially when it comes to money and attracting money and, your beliefs about money, you're being called to really cleanse them and get them to a place of a high frequency of knowing that abundance is meant for you, knowing that you deserve abundance, knowing that abundance is coming your way, which, of course, as I said before in this reading, stems from the ability to recognize the abundance that is right in front of you in this 3D reality at this time. Again, the now moment is the portal to those future moments, that future timeline where even more abundance is called into you. But it starts from noticing the abundance and feeling into it, feeling gratitude on a deep level. If you're doing gratitude journaling, you can't just be writing a list in a rational way coming from the mind. You have to also be feeling it in your body, in your heart, feeling that soul level alignment and excitement about the dreams that you have, because the dreams you have are already meant for you. And your job is to recognize that and believe that and embody that. So you don't have to worry too much about the how when you're making decisions, because as you are presented with opportunities, you will have the intuitive nudges and ability to make decisions that will be aligned with your highest emotional fulfillment. And so what you need to focus on instead is your now moment existence, your way of being, your way of feeling, your way of experiencing the world, and the feeling of that which you want to experience more of in life. Then you get yourself on a high frequency that is magnetic and that feels good about life, and that then attracts the abundance to you in an effortless way. So a little manifestational side note there, but that's coming through really strongly because we're speaking on finances and we're speaking about emotions. And so those are really tied together and a significant part of what you're manifesting on your journey right now. Okay, so that concludes our 7 facet reading and workshop. So I would love to know what resonated with you, what breakthroughs you may have had. I hope that you got something valuable out of this and maybe took some notes for the month ahead so that you have a clear understanding on what to prioritize and what is meant for you to be working on at this time in your journey. So, as always, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Every like and every subscribe means so much to me. I'm so happy to see the collective being pulled and drawn and attracted to this channel as we're slowly building and growing this beautiful community. So, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.